Hello, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so very excited to have you here. It is almost the end of Bookmas. We have one more day to go, which is absolutely insane to say. I have been making videos all month long, editing, thumbnails, you name it, I've been doing it this month, and I cannot believe we have actually accomplished getting 25 videos in a day. I cannot thank you enough for being here, for helping support me, for keeping me going on this journey. I'm going to be so honest, if you're not here watching these videos, I think it would be very hard to find the motivation for myself to keep going. So I can't thank you enough for being here watching these videos and for helping me get through this whole month of pretty much posting a video almost every single day. But today we are going to be doing a book tag. I thought about doing like a 2025 wrap-up book tag, but I feel like I would just be saying the same thing over and over again. As you can see, the last couple of days I've been posting videos on my whole entire selection of books that I had this year, and so I kind of summed up some things from that. So I figured we would just do a more general tag. I have not prepped any of this. I have not looked at any questions beforehand. I'm just gonna go online, look up a couple of book tag questions, and then kind of go through them as we go. Like I said, I'm not prepped for this. I probably should have. I probably should have got the questions that I wanted to go over, but I didn't. So we're just gonna go online, look some up, and then kind of go over them. And again, it's not necessarily going to pertain to any books that I read this year. It's just gonna be a general book tag, general questions, and some books from this year might happen to pop up in them. We'll see though. I looked up book tag questions, and so I'm just going through literally down the row of web pages just to see what is on there and what I like. So number one, it says, what book is on your nightstand right now? Currently, I'm right by my nightstand. I actually have a nightstand, which is actually fun. I haven't had a nightstand for years, but I just have my Kindle. So technically I have so many books on my nightstand, but I'm not in the middle of reading one on my Kindle right now. The book that I would have had on my nightstand this morning was The Summer of Christmases. I have been reading that one for our video tomorrow. So I'm getting through that one currently for our Christmas reading video. That's on my nightstand. Again, not currently, but on my nightstand. And then for after that, I have Scythe on there. So I have both of them together, ready to go, ready for Scythe whenever the other one gets finished. What was the last truly great book you read? I feel like a lot of people focus more on other things that make a story great, like the writing style, all that. I am so picky and particular about what I like in books. I think it's hard for me to find a story that I genuinely enjoy. So I would say the last truly great book that I read, again, not having anything to do with writing anything, it's really just gonna be that I enjoyed, probably would be A Court of Thorns and Roses, that whole series. I read that this year. I know that I've said previously that I did not have a 5-star book this year. That was a complete lie. I forgot wholeheartedly that I read ACOTAR. I didn't put it on my Goodreads because I was trying to be sneaky and not let anybody know that I was reading it so that I could make a video for it, and totally forgot to put that anywhere. So that was a 5-star read this year. I did really enjoy that series. And the manner in which I read that, kind of all back to back, still great. And then if I was to go back a little bit more, I read Ready Player One, and I don't normally say that I feel like books change me, but that book is something that I will absolutely never forget. I will think about that all the time, and I will never stop recommending it. So those are probably my two series. I think on the level of it being in my heart and me just feeling for it wholeheartedly, I would say Ready Player One would be the last one that I truly was like, this is just fantastic. ACOTAR definitely not far behind though, for sure. Ooh, here's a pretty good one. What book did you feel like you were supposed to like but didn't? Emily Henry is the easiest thing to come to mind, and I don't want to say that I didn't like her books, but I do remember I was reading Emily Henry books for a week, and I read Beach Read last. I think that I've heard that that one was everybody's favorite book. So I read Book Lovers first, then People We Meet on Vacation, and then Beach Read, if I'm not mistaken. And I did not like Beach Read. I didn't dislike it, but it really put me in a book slump. I was so over it. I did not want to read it. It took me forever to get through that book. And again, I thought that that one was going to be the absolute best one, but it really wasn't. It did not do it for me at all. I didn't care for the characters. And again, obviously I read Emily Henry for a week, so I read two other books that to me felt pretty similar to the book that I was reading. So I guarantee that played a role in why I didn't like it as much as I did. But for me, it really just felt like I was supposed to love it, and I felt so disappointed that I didn't. I felt really left out. Same thing with Abby Jimenez. I feel like I've not read an Abby Jimenez book yet that I really enjoy, and everybody loves her books, everybody loves her writing, and I feel like I don't. Makes me feel bad. It makes me feel like I just don't know what I'm doing, that I don't know how to read books, and that I just don't like books that other people like. And I guess that comes with me being really picky and not really paying attention much to writing style, anything like that when enjoying a book. It's more just what the book is and how it makes me feel. That's literally like 5 stars. It doesn't have anything to do with the book. If the book's good, it's good, but if it doesn't feel like a 5 star, it's not a 5 star. Doesn't matter how good the book was. If I don't feel it in my gut, I know my gut's down here, but like if I don't feel it in my gut, it's not a 5 star and I can't give it a 5 star. What kind of stories are you drawn to? There is a very, very specific type of romance book that makes my stomach flutter. I want that, or I want like a really, really intense plot twist for either like a psychological horror or a psychological thriller. Like think Don't Worry Darling type plot twist. Obviously you know something's going on, you know something's a little bit weird, but what actually happened and what was actually going on, absolutely crazy. Shutter Island, Leonardo DiCaprio. What happened? What actually happened? Absolutely insane. Like that plot twist was crazy. Inception. Crazy. Like the ending was just insane. It just blows my mind today that someone was able to think of that and make that and just make me feel so engrossed in the movie and then just look at the end and just mind blown. I really, really want good storylines like that in thrillers or horror, and I don't think that I'm very good at finding books like that. It's really difficult, and I want stuff that makes me feel like that. I want every single book to make me feel like that, and I think everybody else does too, and I just don't realize it. For some reason it makes me feel like I'm looking for something too much. I'm looking too much into things. I want things to be too specific. But at the end of the day, I think everybody's like that, and there's no harm in feeling like that. Obviously we all have our own preferences, so that's what I really like. I like that really gut-churny romance book, and I mean it's kind of like a weird fine line between a like Wattpad style-esque book. Not too much spice. It can have a little bit if it like actually makes sense in the story, but like definitely not a lot. It just very specific things that I like, and that's what I really want to find. But I think for me it's a little bit difficult to find that. And again, I'm sure everybody goes through this all the time. I'm not special, I just feel like I am. Are there any type of stories that I try to steer clear of? I'm pretty open to most anything. I will say I feel like I have a pretty high tolerance with a lot of stuff. I'm not very fazed by anything. There's not very much that's really just gonna get on my nerves. It's gonna just irk me to the core. That's gonna frustrate me. I'm fine with being really frustrated. I'm so fine with an unlikable character. I think I don't like gross. I really haven't wanted to read anything gross, and then I did read something gross and it kind of like solidified that opinion. So I don't like gross things, and I don't like really a lot of dark romance. I don't like taboo type romance stuff. That's not my cup of tea. And gross horror type of things. Like, I mean, unbathed, going to the bathroom all over the floor, smearing feces on the wall, like just that type of gross. Not like blood, guts, gore, whatever. I don't care about that at all, but like nasty, not a fan of that. What do you plan to read next? As of right now, Scythe is next on my list. That's what I pretty much am going to read. If for whatever reason something happens, I might not, but if I change, if I decide to read anything different, I'll probably just read something that's on my winter TBR. But I mean, Scythe is on the winter TBR as well, but that's kind of what I want to start with just because I didn't finish off the fall TBR. Oh, these are my kind of questions. How many books are too many books in a series? This, I think it really just depends on the series itself. I have not read a super long series personally. I do have Throne of Glass, obviously. I think that's gonna be most people's like most books in a series. I think that I'm about like a 3. I like a good trilogy. A lot of stuff past that I start to get a little, I don't want to say bored, but I start to get a little overwhelmed, like there's a little bit too much going on. And obviously if the story's really great and I'm into it and everything, that's fine. But if I feel like we're dragging on, if it doesn't feel like there's any reason to keep on going other than the fact that the books have been doing well, it's a successful series, then I don't really care to continue that. But if I don't feel that and we are just actually drawing the series out for whatever reason and it makes sense and it doesn't feel like that, then I really don't know. I think it's fine. But again, I'm more of a trilogy. After a good 3 books, I'm kind of like, okay, that's good. We could have summed it up in 3, maybe 4. That's probably my, I don't want to say cap, but that's my sweet spot, I guess. How do you feel about cliffhangers? I'm so fine with a cliffhanger. Less fine with a cliffhanger if the next book isn't out. Obviously, that's gonna be majority of things. I've yet to be left off on a cliffhanger that I know of and not had the next book be out. So for me, I've not had any experience in that. But because I know I don't have a great memory, I try not to read series if they're not fully out. because I know I'm not gonna have much enjoyment in the series post whatever books are out, because I'm gonna have to wait for them. I'm not gonna remember the cliffhanger, and so it's just gonna be like, I'm not eager anymore because I don't have that little piece that I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen next? What's going on? I also don't care for cliffhangers if I'm not continuing the series. If it's book 1, there's a cliffhanger in it, and I don't really care for it to go on. I do want to see what's gonna happen, but like, I kind of wish it would have just been summed up so I could be done with it. I think cliffhangers are good if they're at the end of like a book 2, book 3, to keep you wanting to read the rest of the series. I really do like a cliffhanger in book 1 if it's after the story has been concluded, if that makes any sense. So we read the story, it's done, it feels like it can just be a standalone, but then after it concluding, there is a little bit of a, hey, here's this that could happen. Kind of like in a movie where you finish the movie and then in the credits they play a scene where there's a cliffhanger in the credits. And most people have already left, but if you choose to stay, then you can see the cliffhanger. I kind of like that because it makes it an easy segue into the next books if you do like it, or an easy segue into it if you don't really know if you want to do a part 2 or not. But if you don't want to, you can kind of be content with the end of book 1. All in all though, I don't mind a cliffhanger, I'm totally fine with it. But of course, if I'm not finishing it or if I'm not moving on, I don't love it. I would have liked it to be concluded, but I mean, if it's gonna be part of a series anyways, like, obviously it's not gonna conclude for me just because I don't want to finish reading it. This one is a difficult one. Hardback or paperback? I really want an intentional bookshelf. I personally, I don't trust Amazon, okay? I don't trust Amazon to give me all the books on my Kindle. I think Amazon could ban my account at any point. Amazon could ban any of your accounts at any point and you lose all of your books that you pay for because they're not your books. You're buying them, but they're not yours. You don't own them. I want all of the books that I want to reread, I want to have them physically. That's how I like it. That's how I operate. I like Xbox discs. If it's a game that you can play without a subscription for Xbox Live, we're getting it at a disc. I don't care. Like, I would not get the Xbox that didn't have the disc drive. That's how I operate. I like to own my things physically. In a digital world, I know that's weird, that's what I like. A lot of my books that I'm purchasing, especially if I've already read them and I'm purchasing them, I like to have them. I like to have my bookshelves ready to reread anything on it that I possibly could. I don't want to have a bunch of stuff on there that I don't like and that I don't want to reread because I don't want it to take away space. So I like to have a bookshelf because those are all the books that I would want to reread. I would want to read again. If something happened, the freaking world shut down and we could do nothing but live in our house for a year, I can go and I can reread all of my books. If technology does not exist anymore, I can go back and I can read all of these books and keep myself entertained. That being said, since I'm like that, since I think like that, I like having those in a hardback copy because I feel like they're more durable. They're gonna hold up better, they're gonna last longer. If I lose the dust jacket, like whatever, it's not the end of the world, but I'll still have the book where I feel like it's gonna hold up better, it's not gonna tear, it's not as likely to get crumpled or anything like that. So I think for me, in that sense, I like the idea of hardbacks better. Obviously, paperbacks are easier to read and a lot more comfortable, but I do have that weird mentality going on that the world's gonna end and I'm only gonna be able to read my books on my shelf, so I prefer a hardback for that. But comfortability-wise, I like a paperback, so I am really split down the middle. I enjoy getting cheap hardbacks, I really do. If I'm going to Book Outlet and I'm getting everything in hardback, like, great. Absolutely love that. For $5, hardback all the way. But overall, since they are more expensive, I don't find myself usually getting drawn to them. Really is kind of iffy, which one can I get cheaper, and am I going to want to keep this for the rest of my life? If I do want to keep it forever, then I'll probably get the hardbacks. If I don't really care, then paperback. That was a whole lot of explaining just to say I don't know. But now you know how I operate, now you know how I think of things, which is sometimes crazy, but oh well. Ooh, love triangles, yes or no? I don't mind a good love triangle. I don't mind it. But if I'm doing a love triangle, I want to not be able to tell who we're gonna end up with. Like, I want it to be a complete surprise. Like, not any hint anywhere that we are leaning towards one person. I'm not gonna like seek it out, but I'm fine with it. It's not gonna like deter me from wanting to read a book. Bookmarks or dog ears. I don't mind dog earing now as much anymore. Again, if it's not a book that I'm gonna like, I'll dog ear it, whatever. If it's a book that I am gonna like and wanna reread, I wanna keep it nice. Bookmark, because I don't wanna mess up my good books that I'm gonna keep forever. Because again, if the economy crashes, if everything goes down, everything goes dark, I have no internet, I have no ability to do anything on my phone, I'm gonna be reading those books, and I don't want like broken, messed up pages, anything like that, if I'm gonna be reading for 85 years. So definitely a bookmark. And for me, I also just have really special bookmarks. I don't just have like cheap paper bookmarks. I have a couple bookmarks that I really enjoy. They were presents to me and I take pride in owning. So I can't just not use those. I very much am a bookmark girly. Can you read while hearing music? Not really. Not very good at it. I am one to not be able to read while people are talking, while movies are playing. If anybody's like actually saying something that I'm going to engage in, really difficult for me, because then I stop focusing on the words that I'm reading and then I just read with my eyeballs, but it doesn't go in my head because I'm listening to everything else. So I don't normally tend to do that. I don't listen to music with words in it. I very rarely just listen to music in general, but listening to music while I'm reading, not very much, and I definitely don't listen to music with words in it because even that will distract me. Also, I very much enjoy good music. And I'm not talking about like lyrics. I love like when a chord progression just hits the way it needs to. Oh my gosh, when you like play the right chord at the right moment with everything, it just, that's something else, that's otherworldly, it feels like. So for me, I like sit there and I analyze music sometimes. So I'll be sitting there reading a book even, and the music is just so good that I'm so engrossed in it, and I'm listening to what's going on in the music and what's happening, and I get distracted even then. So I really don't listen to much music. One or multiple POVs. I think it really depends on what's going on. If it's a romance book and the man is yearning, like if the male main character is the one that's really into the female main character first, then like I want to hear his point of view. I want to hear what he's saying. Like I want to hear him yearning. Like I want that. And I've seen some people that are like, I hate a male POV. Like I can't stand that. I don't want to be in a man's head. And I don't care as long as he's like a good dude. As long as he's doing what he's supposed to and he's not like a booty hole, then we're good. I love a male POV, I will say that. And I do love multiple POVs when it makes sense. If we're swapping up POVs just to swap up POVs, like, I don't really care for that. I really do like a dual POV, but I'm totally content with either. I don't mind. Same thing with like first person, third person. I really don't care. Like it doesn't faze me whatsoever. I don't actually pay attention to it, so I'm good with whatever there too. Worst habit as a reader. I am really bad about reading super slow and still not gathering information. I have a terrible memory, so I forget everything. Obviously, we know that. And sometimes when I get really excited, I start like speed reading, but not actually reading it super hard, so that's not very good. I should not do that. I try not to. Sometimes I have to just cover up the page so that I don't do that, or just force myself to read each individual word. So I do that a lot. It's not good. Do I read the synopsis? Yes and no. We know I am so big on not reading it, going into a book completely blind, but for me, I don't have a memory, so it's really nice because I can read the synopsis, decide I like the book or I think it's going to be good and buy it, but I'll forget about it by the time I go to read it, so I just know that I liked it or that it sounded good whenever I picked it out, but I'm still going into it blind. Doesn't make for really good explanations if I'm trying to tell you why I have it on my TBR or anything like that, because I don't know what it's about, couldn't tell you, but kind of the best of both worlds if you ask me. All right, and we'll make this my last question. Books I'm looking forward to reading. I said this in another video not too long ago, but I think for the past couple years, I have either started or ended the year with a Blake Crouch book, and I just ended up getting one from the library that I have been waiting on for so long. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's Upgrade or something, but I want to read that. Like immediately, I want to read that so bad. So I think that one is something that I'm super pumped for. I'm really excited. I want to get into it because I love a Blake Crouch book. I love a good sci-fi. I love sci-fi that's just gonna absolutely rock my brain. And I think that that would be perfect. I think that's what I need. I think that's gonna be a great one to either finish the year up or start the year off, because again, that's just what I do. I probably have so many more that I am so eager to read, and I know that I do, but that one is one that I have just been thinking about nonstop these past couple weeks, and I really just think that I need to get to it, because like what better way to continue my streak of starting or ending the year with one of his books. But I think that's gonna be it. I think that was the perfect question to leave off on. Let me know what some of your answers to some of these questions are. Pick one of the questions and let me know in the comment what your answer was. And also before you leave, don't forget to subscribe so that way you can help me out with one of my videos that I have coming up here soon. So that way you can help me and you can be a part of it. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this Bookmas. Thank you for making this possible. I would not have the motivation, want, or desire to do this if it wasn't for you. So I greatly appreciate you for that. And I hopefully will get to see you in the next one and the last one tomorrow. See ya!